I'm gonna ask the most stereotypical question that everyone is who watching this or listening is curious. Have you been in a White House?
I have.
Tell us everything.
Okay. So,
what was the moment? When was the moment when someone told you, "Hey, you know what? Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, White House."
okay, it's not that. Listen, Jay, it's not that exciting. Okay, I was an intern on a tour. Okay, like
Okay.
it's not like I went to brief Melania. Like no,
Okay.
like we weren't like interns are not allowed anywhere near anybody important, right? So basically, the International Trade Administration where I worked had a really good partnership with the USTR, the US Trade Representative. So these agencies, along with somebody from state, I think it was, collaborate on crafting US policy responses on trade. And so Lucas, who was a contact we had at USTR, was like, hey, to my supervisor, hey, why don't we arrange a little tour of the White House for the interns? And we were all like, yay, because
Okay, of
White
course.
House.
Yeah, of course.
but unfortunately, it wasn't the West Wing. It was the First Lady Wing, the East Wing. So I didn't actually see anybody. This was the Trump administration. My intern friend who came with me thought that she caught a glimpse of Melania Trump, but I was just walking around admiring the china and the curtains and the view. Like, wow. Like I felt.
Can you tell me more? So you said East Wing and West Wing,
Yes.
right? And you said not in the East Wing. So all the Oval House and all the interesting stuff is in the East Wing,
West Wing.
West Wing.
So people here might know the American TV show, the pretty iconic political drama called The West Wing. That describes
right,
a wing
now
of
I
the White
know
House
why.
where the president's
Okay.
office sits and the chief of staff and all that.
Right, that's the West
East
Wing.
Wing is the first lady's office,
Okay.
which I didn't know until I went on that tour. So,
Okay,
you know,
that's
we're
good.
really 普及一下大家, you know, we're really giving everybody some information here.
Yeah. How did it look inside? Was it people was like looking? Because here's the thing. From the podcast I watched, some people said that when they entered, what surprised them that it's actually an office building.
Yeah.
There's actually people. There's one guy who said that he saw a lady working on the computer, and then she took her shoes off. Because you know, when you work in the office,
Hey,
you
I took my shoes off all the time when I was working. So my government building, the Department of Commerce, is like decently close to the White House. It's somewhat walking distance, right? So unless like a dignitary came, like a deputy assistant secretary or above, I wasn't wearing my heels.
Okay.
I was always wearing my Birkenstocks. Like one time, actually, there was this like big biotech company that came to meet with our DAS, our boss, our deputy assistant secretary, and I went to the meeting wearing Birkenstocks. I forgot to change into my pink heels, which were extremely uncomfortable. So like literally, I had like when I was working not in government at the think tank, which isn't government, it's like adjacent but not, like, I mean, I rarely ever even wore my work shoes. Like one time I had to escort like some foreign secretary of some country, and I was like, okay, finally, let me put my work shoes on. You know, like I hate, like, part of why I don't work in DC, the stuffy kind of governmental or government adjacent policy jobs anymore, is that I actually really hate business attire.
Oh really?
Oh my goodness.
You're a freestyle worker, but
Yeah, listen, I put on this shirt to go on this podcast. Do you think
it's
I
a
look...
beautiful shirt. This
I know,
is a beautiful
thanks,
shirt. I
Mom.
like it. I like it.
Yeah, but like I don't like I'm normally in a t-shirt and some jeans, like holding up a sign and a megaphone. Like that's my job now. I'm not like the like DC insider anymore, you know?
Okay, so there was a tour in the White House. They explained to you how everything works, the East Wing and everything. Have you seen anyone at that day? Was there any people? It's more of a okay.
You know, I'm like I'm not so observant.
Okay.
I love to talk, but I don't love to watch. I can't like take in a lot of information at once. So.
Did you feel more present? You know, like, oh, okay, I'm in the room, I'm getting a tour and everything, or were you like, oh, damn, I'm in White House? Was it that sort of excitement that you cannot get read from your head, or it was just
No. It's not the West Wing.
okay?
It's
It was not West enough for you. You will get more excited on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't very thrilled about the Trump administration, so the idea of running into the Trump First Lady or Trump was not so exciting.
Okay. Before we move to that, what can you tell us about your work? Whatever you can tell. More even not about your duties, but in terms of, for example, workload. because I think it's a very important topic here because people working a lot.
Yeah, I learned a
Um,
new word this visit. I learned two words actually, 躺平 and 卷.
Juan.
卷 is the opposite of 躺平. Juan is like if you're working extremely
Oh,
hard.
extremely hard. Okay. And tangping is laying down and flat and doing almost nothing, right? Is that the meaning?
Mhm.
Right? Yeah, laying down flat. Right. So what was the workload for the government job in America? Was it normal now? Was this 9 to 5, Monday to
Yeah,
Friday?
9 to 5.
Okay.
With the caveat that being an intern means they like some internships really vary across the government. Some of my friends who interned in Congress, especially if they interned with higher ranking Congress people, really got almost nothing out of that experience because they were just opening doors for tourists, really.
Okay.
Like big senators. Sometimes you get to write some policy papers and submit it up to your legislative assistant. Sometimes a lot of times, like in Congress, if you're doing an internship, you're literally just, your constituents come to visit the office and you're taking them on tours. It's not like internships in government are very rarely super glamorous and they're usually quite boring and menial because they really expect you to work your way up.
Right.
Fortunately, I had bosses that were really invested in my having a good experience. So I got to write policy papers. I got to brief the like high level officials, like some briefings that I wrote eventually after my internship ended, made it all the way up to the Secretary of Commerce. Like I had an impact. I felt like I was sitting in on meetings with important people. Like I really learned a lot that summer. Like I learned a whole dictionary of references of how to work on trade policy in DC. It was great.
What was the best life lesson you took? And if we're not talking about obviously the work experience is extraordinary, and I think it's also for, let's be honest, for self-esteem, right? It is a very big point that you reached personally. Some things that I'm doing, sometimes I'm not even trying to get the actual benefit. It's just for my own sake that I'm able to do that. So I think being in the White House is one of those things. But what about any particular life lessons you took from being there and that you're still implementing in your life?
This isn't super life. This is more work. But
Okay.
I think the one important thing that changed my life direction at that one internship in college at Commerce was the importance of data. Just
The
like,
importance of data.
yeah. Because trade is numbers. You look at flows between countries. You look at the goods, the categories of goods that are increasing or decreasing. You look at what's getting tariffed and when's that hitting.
Mhm.
You're putting that into charts, sending it up the chain. You have to be able to explain it. Like I understood more and more that just because I studied social sciences doesn't mean I can be content not having data literacy. So I went back and started taking more classes in that area.
Data is power. That's what we need here too for our
Yeah.
project here too.
Yeah.
Maybe the last question about your work, because when you're telling someone that you work for the government, people are immediately losing their mind because it is a work of mystery. Do you think there is a lot of people actually overthink about this kind of work, or it is the opposite way, or you think it's not understood enough and there's actually way more work that those people are doing that people don't actually realize? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm more of the first one. I think it is an important job. You need to be an extraordinary person to do that. But as I told you, I do believe it's a job. I think at one point it become a normal job as regular.
Yeah.
You're going to work and you're finishing and you're going home. Would you still say it's more misunderstood or undervalued?
So let me just clarify, making sure we all understand here. I
Okay.
never worked full-time for the US government. I did internships.
Again, I clearly understand that.
Okay.
But you were as close as anyone I know. That's why I'm
Okay.
asking you
All
these
right.
questions.
Well then.
Because even if maybe you haven't done that, you still interacted and engaged
Yes,
with people
I
who
have.
are full-time,
Yes.
who are going there on a regular basis, maybe for many years.
Mhm.
So you probably know just a little bit of insights.
Yeah. So you're asking if you think these jobs are over.
Is it that mysterious as everyone think? Is it all about these top secrets agencies?
No. Okay, so not at all. I don't want the US, I don't want Uncle Sam to watch
Okay.
this and come for me
Okay.
and interrogate me when I go
Okay.
back to Border Patrol in the US. But
We're talking about normal people. who has the
Yes.
job and who's doing this job every day.
So there's the intelligence community, the IC, which consists of the CIA, FBI, NSA, and a bunch of other agencies. Like there's a bunch that you don't think of as intelligence agencies, but they are like intelligence units of normal government bureaucracies. They safeguard shit. They safeguard their stuff pretty
Okay.
closely. They need secret, top secret security clearances. They are the keepers of the US state, really, in a certain way. But like, keep in mind, like the U.S. bureaucracy is huge. Like, there's federal government, which we discussed. There's state government. There's city government. Like, all levels of government have all different functions. It's just like any other government. People have to run things to get things to people, and kids got to get to school, and parents need to get their work benefits and taxes. Like, it's a rather mundane operation. Only very select few people can actually hold
access to something.
to top secret information. I do think transparency could be improved, right? Because people think there's corruption or something. But an interesting statistic is that while Congress is extremely unpopular to average Americans, most Americans actually think bureaucrats, like people who work within, like civil servants who aren't partisan, who work within the system, are like good people who are effective at their jobs. So, you know, you can't define this entire huge employer by
As
the IC, right? The
right,
IC. When you think of the U.S. government, the federal level, people think like the fancy.
But that's
shit,
exactly what I said when
the
people
IC.
think about the mystery, right? That's
Yeah.
exactly, they're thinking about the top secret department where
Yeah.
actually I think there's a lot of normal people who just going to work and then coming back and they know nothing.
Yeah. Dude, the people I worked with are so normal. Like, they have the normal snacks. They have their girlfriends and their kids and their books.
And
I
they're
don't know.
taking shoes off while they're sitting at the office.
Shit,
at the
everybody
computer.
nobody wears like dress shoes when they're just walking around the office hallway. Everybody's got their tennies, you know.
Right. Do you think that current
Wait, sorry,
election-
actually, let me clarify. Department of
Yeah.
State, more serious. Commerce, like, it varies by department. State is like super formal, is what I don't know. I never worked personally at like in person, but I don't know. I can't speak for the entire U.S. government when I say nobody wears dress shoes.
Okay, we don't expect you to do that, but you still gave us a lot of good information to think.